Okay.
Where did the interest in fashion first come from?
Fashion started early. Well, that's actually not true. Clothes started early, so I guess I didn't really understand what fashion was, but I was surrounded by lots of elements of making clothes. I started making clothes because I became an unwitting volunteer to my mum, who essentially decided that if I had free time, it was spent helping her do things. Even though I was probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years old, I was weirdly being trained as a tailor or pattern cutter. Weirdly, as someone she was never trained, she knew a lot, actually. She was quite a perfectionist, and that sort of attention to detail is something I'm pretty sure I picked up from her, definitely. She was a real taskmaster when it came to doing things right, but in a good way, you know. I learned a lot from it, so. I mean, the other influence, I would say, was actually Lady Diana. I think what's fascinating about her is because she was not so much older than me, she was about 10 years older than me. The fact that she then was dressing in a lot of London fashion brands, even though they were more like the elegant style. It sort of shone a spotlight on fashion as an interesting thing to follow. And I think in the UK, we hadn't really paid that much attention to it. Even if it wasn't really what I was necessarily looking to aim to do, I found it fascinating, the attention she got just from what she wore.
You going from spending time with your mum to making your own stuff and being pretty skilled at it, and then deciding to go study at school, study at university?
I mean, I think the thing for me was just seeing fashion around me. But what was interesting was I was seeing a lot of street fashion around me. And okay, not to date myself too much, but I was around the era of punks, skinheads, New Romantics, all of that. I remember standing at a bus stop and there were kids with full, huge mohawks, piercings everywhere, punk t-shirts, and then skinheads next to them. It was such an incredible mix of fashion, literally at the bus stop. It was so interesting. You go and look everywhere. There was such diversity, and Birmingham itself is a hugely diverse city. You can't imagine it today because everybody looks so normal today on the streets. Very rarely do you see someone who is that passionate about their look. And that's how I really started to think, God, this is really cool. And where do these people go? Then I started to realize that they were influenced by things that were happening in London, and then London became the draw for me because I was like, wow, if this is just the tip of the iceberg here, what's it going to be like in London? It must be really amazing there. So I had to, you know, set my sights on getting there. Well, this was really the foundation of everything, to be honest, being here. Changed my life in so many ways because I had the ability to graduate and get a job immediately, which it's hard to explain it, but back then in the 90s, there were very few opportunities. Burberry was like a sort of fuddy-duddy trench coat brand, Aquascutum the same. We had a lot of English brands like Barbara and things which were not fashion. So there wasn't the equivalent of what we have today as in luxury brands. It was kind of a bleak outlook actually. At the beginning of the 90s, you were really coming out of the high 80s where there was massive growth, and then there was a huge recession, no jobs anywhere. So actually, me coming here finding a specialty and defining what I wanted to do made the world of difference, and the training that I got here was so specialized. I actually had 2 or 3 job opportunities, of which many of my colleagues didn't, and so that was a game changer, really, total game changer.
What job came after? It was the Calvin?
Calvin, yeah. So I was working here and doing my final degree project. One of my course tutors went to New York, and she asked, out of all the students on the floor, like, who would like their portfolios to be taken to New York? And I said, absolutely, please take my book, I'd love to do that. Finally, in the end, got the interview at Calvin Klein first. So I went there and got the job offer, so I didn't even interview for the other ones, I just went with the first one. Which I was more than excited about. I mean, Calvin Klein at that time was amazing, especially because he was there. So it was the moment to work at Calvin. He was one of the coolest brands in New York to work for. So before I even did my graduate show, I had a job.
What's the value of going to fashion school?
The value is really you learn your craft. I can only kind of talk to the RCA particularly, but they had a really good understanding of how to balance both the craft side of fashion, so be experimental, push your boundaries, go work with a print designer. It was a lot of cross-pollination, but also just the skills, because they've got very good technicians here. It's got amazing visiting lecturers. So you gain a lot. If you just jump in the industry directly, you're not going to get that. And on the other side, they teach you discipline. The critiques, they were harsh. And it is that actually builds your robustness for the industry, because this industry is tough and you have to learn to stand out. So you have to focus and fine tune constantly. You have to understand your place in it. Why you? Why would you come into this industry? So what are you going to offer? And it's not always easy to know that when you're like 18, 19, 20. I wasn't there at that point. I was just learning, and I hadn't discovered what I really could blossom into at that stage. So you could argue today that a lot of people have got a lot of skills, but there's always something new coming out. So you just have to find what it is. So like, what's the thing that you can bring? But I wouldn't be put off by not knowing when you're young, because it takes time.
So like the experience at college kind of prepared you for the experience of life?
Yeah, because as soon as I got to Calvin, especially working in America, which is a really like work hard environment. It's like work hard, play hard. They live by that. I mean, yeah, I was doing 16-hour days, working weekends. It was really frying pan to fire, but this had prepared me to a certain extent. In the run-up to your final collection, when you're working in college, you're working like it's a real fashion show. I mean, you're doing late nights. I remember sewing till 3 in the morning and then coming here at 8 a.m. to like get back on the machine, because I booked my time on the machine. And so it was tough. It was not a walk in the park. The problem is that a lot of people go into fashion thinking that it's kind of a nice, fun, glam career, and that you can kind of, design something pretty or do something kind of cool or whatever. It's really hard graft. It's really actually very physical, emotional, and intellectually demanding skill to be a fashion designer. And if you find that that's too hard, then maybe this industry is not for you.
So we kind of have Claire pre-uni, and then Claire post-uni. What was the difference?
The reality was that even though I had a lot of skills, I landed at my first day at Calvin and I felt like I was in an alien world. I had no idea what they were talking about. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I was thrown at the deep end. I didn't know how you produce clothes. I'd never worked with a factory. From that aspect, for me, that was the huge learning curve. I learned very quickly, but that felt quite frightening, not, making a call on something, but not really knowing if that was the right thing.
Yeah, what was your attitude like going into all of this?
I mean, weirdly, you wouldn't know now, but I was so shy, like painfully shy. And I just didn't say anything. So people didn't really know. I just thought the tactic was to stay quiet and observe. And I was really good at observing because I spent my childhood watching my mum, so just not, just following, observing, learning. And I found that was a really good tactic for me to kind of survive, especially those first early months where I was really learning on the job, actually, what the job was. Morty Alpert, who was an amazing mentor to me, he could tell I was like drowning and sort of sat with me and went through things and kind of taught me everything from a production standpoint. But, I'll be forever grateful to him for that. He was really an extraordinary man to kind of be so open, considering I was so young. I was 21. I just sort of really didn't know a thing. I don't think a lot of people would feel comfortable with like designing whole lines for a huge fashion designer. The year that I joined him, he'd signed Kate Moss of Marky Mark. I mean, the brand was on fire, literally on fire. And so I felt like this huge sense of responsibility of trying to do a good job. I didn't realize it at the time, but the person who sat opposite me had also basically wanted the job that I eventually got. And I will say then, we became great friends after because I kind of didn't realize. And then when she told me, I felt awful, just so awful. But that's the cutthroat nature of America. And it was a very big learning curve for me of how it works over there. You are nobody, and you can be interchanged very easily. But what it does is it throws you into the competitive nature of fashion. And I remember a friend of mine describing years later that it's like throwing people into the lion's pit, and it's who survives. And quite often you find creative studios are like that. They pit people against each other because the conflict creates a dynamic and a creative atmosphere that pushes people to do more because they want to come out on top. And so it's kind of like a sports arena in that sense. So when you're in this sort of fashion environment in an office, it's hugely competitive, even within the small space you're in, let alone the industry. So even your little orbit of 5 people will be highly competitive. Not unlike uni, have to say, actually. Because of course, every teacher has their favorites. It's like when you start going to school in primary, there's always a favorite, and you learn very early that happens throughout life. And so you have to navigate your way around it, and you have to find the skills that you have that make you shine.
I mean, one thing that's just come through really pretty firmly is sort of hard work.
Yeah, that was the case for me, hard work. But it's interesting, somebody told me, and it's really true, I believe, success comes to people at different points in their life. So sometimes people can be really successful at school, but then it sort of doesn't actually energize in the same way later in their career. And some people can be really sort of quiet or normal or average at school, and then suddenly they get into an environment which just clicks for them, and it really takes off. That was really the case for me. I would say that I was a really diligent student, and I did always achieve good grades and things like that, but I wasn't like the superstar student. You wouldn't have picked me out of the class and gone, oh, she's gonna make it. You wouldn't have said that, literally. They would say, oh, she's a hard worker, she's diligent, she's, that would be probably the sum up. I think once I reached New York and I could flourish on my own and nobody knew where I came from. New York was downtown, cool, Soho was still really raw, there were still artist lofts there. It was really a place where it felt very edgy and vibrant. It's all about, you know, actually doing it on your own self-esteem. I flourished there, but it was hard work, that's for sure. I mean, I would probably say I reinvented myself when I arrived in New York. You look like Frozen.
Because I don't want to ruin, like, because all I think is I just think of the end of the video where it's like,
you need the next clincher.
Hook. I was just like, I can't ruin this. I have to just like stay perfectly still and just hope for wind.